Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. I've got another of my In the News programs for today. Before I get into that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, did a couple shows recently to talk about the thing that I think is happening right now is we're sort of at an inflection point with a lot of the junior mining companies. And I think that that's what offers a lot of opportunities to investors today. The big driver is always what happens with the gold price, but a lot of times you can get an idea of gold being oversold when there's really no interest in the gold stocks. And lately, I consume a lot of content. I'm always looking at interviews and management discussions and stuff like this. And I find a lot of the management is talking about how challenging the market is right now, that volume is very low for the junior mining companies, and that nobody's really paying attention. But to be successful in investing is, finding things that have good fundamental stories and being active when most are being pulling in their horns and scared. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with gold, with the gold stocks and a lot of junior mining stocks, is they're trading on low volumes. And there's not a lot of enthusiasm right now. But when I see a lot of good companies trading at low valuations, it's often a time that I think that a significant turnaround is going to happen. And that's what I think is happening right now with a lot of juniors. And it coincides with the price of gold. Right now, gold is on a bit of a correction. I think it's a short-term correction in a bull market that actually started in November of 2022. People tend to get enthusiastic when things are going up, and less enthusiastic when they're soft. And, that classic saying is that you want to buy low and sell high. Well, the first thing you got to do is buy low, and that comes when the volumes are low and the enthusiasm is waning. But those things can change very rapidly, and that's what I think we're in a process of. We're very close, within days or maybe even hours, of a significant turnaround. And so I'm going to now talk about some stocks that had some news out that I wanted to point out today. Just let me get to the first one. I'm actually going to talk about this on their chart first. This company is called Goliath Resources. They're a sponsor of my shows, and as you can see here, they bottomed. Well, the actual bottom was probably about 53 cents, but the average low was around 57 cents, and it was trading at its 52-week low. And yet, not too long after that, it started a significant breakout, and on Friday it had a big blast through the 50-day moving average. So now I'm going to go back and take a look at a couple of their news releases. On May the 19th, they announced that Goliath mobilizes for 18,000 meters of drilling, including maiden drill program on newly discovered gold swarm zone at Gold Digger project in the Golden Triangle. They said that the 2023 drill program includes 70 holes from 21 separate drill pads locations with 4 diamond drill rigs for a planned 18,000 meters. So these guys are going at it in a big way. This drilling exploration season will focus on new discoveries and further upside potential. They want to expand the footprint and higher grade mineralization areas of the Sherbet and Bonanza Shear. As you can see here, here's your Sherbet zone, and there's stacked zones on top of this. There's some key structures that come down the mountain this way and another one this way, and where they all converge is where I think that they could have some exciting stuff. They also have this Bonanza Shear that cuts through there. Here's the discovery outcrop. And they showed some beautiful looking sulfides here. This was a float sample with 924 grams of gold, 29 ounces of or 29 ounces of gold. It also had 3,000 grams per ton of silver, or 97 ounces of silver. So very rich rock. Hope they can find the source of that. They talk about a new high priority target to follow up in the Sherbet corridor, providing additional upside for new discovery. It's called Ace in the Hole. It's on trend with Sherbet. They've done some studies that suggest that maybe this Sherbet and the other targets in the area are associated to one big, powerful gold mineralizing system. And I think that that's a very likely outcome, and is one of the reasons that I believe that this could be one of the most important new discoveries that's happening in the Golden Triangle. You also got Humdinger, Sunrise, Payday, Jackpot, plenty of these with excellent grades at the surface, Anaconda, Mastodon, Sure Thing. And then they talked about the highlights from their Sherbet, 97% success rate. So what that tells you is that they understand the system, and it's very predictable. And that's why they're hitting at a 97% rate with their drilling, which is quite exceptional. Bunch of other key information about the various different high-grade holes that they've hit. There again is that Sherbet zone and the Bonanza Shear that look very exciting. Roger Rosmus, who's the CEO of Goliath, stated, and I quote, "After many months of extensive and detailed planning in the off-season, we are very pleased to have mobilized for another aggressive drill program this year at our high-grade gold, silver, gold digger property. The newly discovered Sherbet zone has demonstrated to be a very robust system that is structurally controlled with exceptional continuity and associated with the expansive Bonanza Shear that remains open. We have identified several new strong drill targets focused on where we believe are higher grade zones, as well as significantly expanding the footprint size of the system that remains open. This year's drilling will also include a maiden drill program at our newly discovered Gold Swarm zone that is on strike with Sherbet discovery 4 kilometers to the north that could potentially deliver another material drill discovery in 2023. It has similar geology and high-grade mineralized structures exposed at surface we see at Sherbet. This year's exploration campaign also includes developing new high-grade drill targets for 2024 with a focus on many newly seen outcrops popping up at surface, with the ice fields located in the northern region of our significantly expanded property area. These could provide for additional upside discovery potential in the years to come. The gold digger property is in a geopolitical safe mining jurisdiction and key geological setting where many world-class deposits have been discovered. We look forward to reporting our 2023 exploration and drilling results as they are received, compiled, and interpreted." End quote. So this helped out the market quite significantly. They went through their winter season where they weren't doing any drilling, but now they're cranking up the drill rig. They also announced in May that they had closed a $9.65 million financing. So that gives them plenty of work there, money for that. Now, this May 24th news release is interesting as well, because they said that Goliath to drill 2 new targets at its Lucky Strike property in British Columbia, including maiden drilling of outcropping high-grade gold breccia zone. The gold source zone is a high-grade gold breccia that is drill-ready target that shows all the right components for an extensive gold mineralizing system that is including surface mineralization, textures, and alteration that remains open in all directions. high-grade gold source, high-grade gold breccia is a fully permitted drill-ready target. The gold source main consists of a series of high-grade surface outcrops over 500 meters containing polymetallic quartz hydrothermal breccia with galena and chalcopyrite, where grab samples assayed up to 96 grams of gold and 78 grams of silver. So, you know, that's coming from the top of the system, and now they want to get into the system with their drilling. They've got this bullseye copper gold porphyry summary. This company has a lot of great projects. I think Gold Digger is very exciting because, as I said, I think that that's going to be a future mine, and I think it will be taken over by a much bigger company. And it looks to me that it's easily in the 2 to 5 million ounce category. And if this system that everything is in pointing towards the source, if they find that source, and even as they get closer to that source, I think that you could start looking at this as a 5 million ounce plus deposit. And there are not a lot of those out there. The major mining companies need those kind of deposits. And that's why I think Goliath is a takeover target of the future with a mine of the future. Okay, so next we're going to move over to VR Resources. VR provides an exploration update for Ontario and Nevada properties. HK drill program completed as planned, results pending. Additional drill hole planned on kimberlite at Northway. This is the one that really has me excited because the diamonds might very well be the most serious turnaround story or contrary play that there is in the mining sector. You've got diamond prices trading at very high values, and the reason that they're trading at high values is there's strong demand, then supply is weakening. You've got some of the historical mines that were supplying a lot of diamonds that have run to the end of their mine life or are running out of moving from the open pits down underground, and you know that's going to produce less diamonds. And so you've got a very good supply demand story evolving, but then you've also got that there hasn't been a lot of exploration, virtually zero exploration worldwide for diamonds. And then out of left field comes VR Resources. They drilled a geophysical anomaly called Northway. It's a very big geophysical anomaly. In physical size, that anomaly could result in one of the larger kimberlite pipes discovered worldwide in decades. And they drilled one hole that kind of clipped the side of the geophysical anomaly and clipped the side of a kimberlite pipe. Then they drilled a second hole, and they tapped into fine grain kimberlite and then into coarse grain kimberlite. Now, they haven't detailed that hole as to how much coarse kimberlite that they had hit. And this is very important because, you know, the fine grain kimberlite doesn't have as good a carrying capacity as the coarse grain kimberlite. So when you run a small sample like that for diamond recovery, you're playing a statistical challenging game. Diamonds are very small in the volume of kimberlite. Think about it like this: if your desk had a diamond in it and you drill a hole over in the corner of your desk and the diamond's sitting at the other corner, the chances of hitting that are pretty low because the diamond, even a big diamond, is very small. And so the more kimberlite that especially the coarse grain kimberlite, the more that you have, the better your statistical potential is. Now, originally, when they drilled that hole, they talked about waiting for the assay result, the diamond recovery, before they would put another hole in there. But they were able to raise some money, and there is a growing excitement for this Northway project, and therefore they've decided to get back in there and drill another hole. Now, I hope that they are able to get a nice thick intersection of the primary kimberlite with this coarse kimberlite material, because that will give them a much better chance statistically to find more diamonds. The chances of them finding diamonds are quite exceptional, and you can tell that by looking at the diamond indicator minerals that they did show in their drill core. And they look very good. They look like the kind of indicator minerals that are indicative of a kimberlite that has diamonds in it. Now, they're not from a geological perspective, they're not very far from the Victor kimberlite mine. And Victor was quite an interesting kimberlite. It was relatively low grade at about 1/4 of a carat per ton. But what made it such a spectacular mine is that the diamonds were quite exceptional. I was at the Prospectors and Developers Conference one year, and De Beers had a run of mine diamonds from several of their mines, and it was quite incredible how much better the run of mine from Victor looked compared to their other mines. Diamonds had excellent shapes to them. They were clear. They looked like they were ready to go on a diamond ring without very much in the way of polishing. And so that's what made it such a good mine, is the extreme high quality of the diamonds. Now, if Northway has tapped into that same kind of diamond stability field, it could be quite exciting, because you've got such a big geophysical anomaly there that it could, like I said, be one of the largest kimberlite pipes found in many decades in the diamond business. And so, back in the early 2000s or early 1990s, a little company called Diamet made a diamond discovery, and we were in a similar kind of condition in the junior markets. There was a big malaise. There wasn't a lot of excitement, and then along came Diamet, and it went from pennies a share to several dollars, tens of dollars a share in a very short period of time, because they had found Canada's first diamond mine. Well, VR Resources has a pretty compelling risk-reward scenario. Right now, they're not really given much credit for the potential that this big target could be a big diamondiferous kimberlite pipe. And if that's the case, this stock will go absolutely parabolic. But then, it's always a risk-reward scenario, and the risk protection is these other projects that they have, like their HK rare earth project and their New Boston project in Nevada. They kind of give you the downside protection, and then there's really not a lot of enthusiastic valuation going into this Northway kimberlite. I think it's got a hell of a chance of being a significantly diamondiferous kimberlite, and with the size, it could be could blow the socks off a lot of investors. So those kind of risk-reward situations don't come around very often, and VR Resources has one of those, and I think you should do some homework on that company. All right, next up is Aztec Drilling, or Aztec Exploration, I think the official name is, or Aztec Minerals. They intersected 2.82 grams per ton of gold and 176 grams per ton of silver for 5.02 grams per ton gold equivalent over 36 meters, with 6.45 grams per ton of gold and 408.47 grams per ton of silver, which works out to 11.55 grams per ton of gold equivalent over 15.5 meters at their Tombstone project in Arizona. Now, when you look at the metal factor of that, you know, you got 11.55 times 15.5, you're looking at a pretty handsome well over 100 and almost 200 metal factor. That's some very nice looking core. And you've also got another one here of 5 meters at over 36 or 5 grams over 36 meters. So that gives you a 180 metal factor. It's a very interesting project. I've been watching it for a while. Simon Diakowski is the CEO, and he stated, and I quote, "Our first core drilling program at the Tombstone project continues to intersect broad, shallow, and oxidized zones of high-grade silver and gold at the contention open pit target. Those most recent results highlight the expansion of the mineralized zone in the south central and eastern portion of the target zone. We eagerly await receipt of assays from the final holes of this now complete core drilling program." End quote. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this project, and I invited their CEO, Simon Diakowski, on to do a show to introduce this project to my audience. And we have that tentatively scheduled for tomorrow. So I don't need to go into a lot more details about this other than to say, you know, these kind of things, these kind of results are what gets my attention. And I think they've got something very interesting here, and you want to take a look at it. The next company and company I want to talk about is Canadian Gold Corp. They had an update from their Tartan mine, and they talk about looking to improve financial returns and sustainability. They were pleased to outline several initiatives the company is undertaking at the Tartan mine in Flin Flon, Manitoba, to improve potential future returns while focused on sustainability. In addition to the items outlined in this news release, the most important driver for the company will be the discovery of additional high-grade gold resources. Details regarding the company's 2023 Phase 1 exploration program, which began on June the 1st, are set out in the company's news release dated May the 12th. You click here, and the big piece of that news is that there really has been limited drilling below where they did their 2017 resource calculation, but they have something quite spectacular down there, 23.8 grams per ton of gold over 12.6 meters, 9.7 grams per ton of gold over 4.5 meters. It's wide open, and that is where they're going to be drilling Phase 1 drill target area in 2023. So that's going to start coming out. What I like to see here is the high-grade continuity. Looks quite exceptional. It's wide open at depth. This is looking like an orogenic gold system to me, with quite exceptional potential to get a lot of nice juices flowing as they go deeper. These orogenic gold systems can tend to be quite deep, going down several thousand meters. And as you get deeper into the system, you get closer to the heat engine that brought all that gold mineralization up, and you start getting into more and more coarse gold as you drill deeper. So that's a very exciting scenario. And then they talk about the potential to use electric mining equipment that could help the economics, ore sorting test program. So you can use these ore sorting to capture the coarse gold in these kind of systems, and it can make it quite a significant change to the economics of mining that. They talk about improving the gold recoveries. They're going to tap into the Manitoba tax incentives. They want to remove the 2% net smelter royalty on the project if it becomes a mine. They're working on operational permits. So this little junior that is run by Ian Ball and Rob McEwen looks to have a very exciting future ahead of them. They just recently changed their name to Canadian Gold Corp. And I really like this story a lot. I think they've got a really special project here. And it's not their only project. And included in Tartan Mine, they've got 3 or 4 other really exciting projects as well that are well located near some major mines. Yeah, collectively, I think that this company is worth a lot more than its current valuation. And they've got catalysts to unlock that shareholder value with the current drilling that they're doing at Tartan. And they kind of outlined some of their longer term goals that will help improve the quality of the project as well. So take a look at Canadian Gold Corp. Newfound Gold is a company that I've been following for a long time. They intersected 105 grams of gold over 27 meters at the Iceberg project. So if you look at that in gram meters, you're looking at over 2,700 gram meters. That's some pretty spectacular stuff. And they had some other highlight drill holes there that you can see in the news release. They had some highlights. Melissa Render is the VP Exploration. She stated, and I quote, "Discovering high-grade gold mineralization of this magnitude over such a thick interval is rare in nature, and yet Queensway has produced several of these high-caliber hits across a multitude of zones. Their 1210 runs 27 meters in length, with several distinct areas, strong quartz veining, laden with visible gold. Logging of the hole identified 1,153 counts of visible gold, which ranks as one of the highest seen at Queensway to date. The Keats baseline fault has proven its potential time and time again, and now is just defined over a strike length of 1.8 kilometers. With the majority of drilling at Queensway focused in the top 250 meters, and with the seismic program well underway, we look forward to exploration drilling later in 2023 when we can use the drill bit to target the deeper plumbing along the Appleton Fault with an eye towards finding the feeder zones and repetitions in mineralization." So here you have an orogenic gold system, and these things can go down for several thousands of meters. And as you get deeper into the system, it will transition from these small flakes into more coarse gold. But the trick is, how do you follow that? And that's what they mentioned. The seismic program that they're doing will be very important to following the system. This iceberg, here's the main Appleton Fault. And oftentimes in these orogenic gold systems, it's the secondary faulting that's really important. The big fault is your big crack in the earth, and then as you get closer to surface, you get these secondary faulting. So the gold uses that main fault as a conduit to make its way up, and then it spreads out into these secondary faultings, and that's what's happening at Iceberg here. They talk about the Keats secondary fault here, and that's where they hit this 105 grammer over 27 meters, 12 grammer over 6 meters, 15 grams over 10 meters. This Iceberg discovery is kind of new, and it's turning out to be quite spectacular. You see some nice continuity of the high grade there. Now the trick will be to keep following it. It looks like here you've got the main Keats zone, and it looks like you've got a distinct zone of high grade mineralization that's wide open to keep going deeper and deeper, and they will want to keep following that. But now at this Iceberg, you've got these super high grade hits, bonanza grade hits that are starting to line up. And it looks like you've got a parallel zone here. So You've got sheets of this orogenic gold, and you know what they do as you keep getting closer. Maybe iceberg and Keats come together at depth. Iceberg East is starting to have some interest to it. Look at all these zones that they're hitting. You know, now it just becomes a matter of you know, hanging together. And you've got indications that it will hang together as you go deeper. This looks like a tremendously big orogenic gold system that is pumping a lot of high-grade gold fluids up towards the surface, and wide open at depth. And I think they've got something quite spectacular here. And even though you can say that, the valuation is still, you know, trading near some a couple year lows. So if you've ever been excited about Newfound gold, you know, buying it cheaper is probably the best advantage you can have here. Alrighty, so that's my in the news show for today. As always, my shows are for information purposes only. It's important for you to speak with your financial advisors and to whether any of the companies I follow are suitable for your risk tolerance. And then, of course, do your homework, because, you know, well-informed investors are the most successful investors. And I provide these shows as a sort of a launch point for your homework. But it's important to go to their websites, check out their news releases, check out their corporate presentations, and that will help you understand these companies. And I think that's what you want to do before you make any investment decision. And that's the case no matter what sector you're looking in. On that note, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.